Welcome to this demo on how Pebblo can help to build safe GenAI applications for enterprises using Microsoft 365 products, such as SharePoint for documents and Azure Active Directory for identity management. We will also show how you can use the widely popular Postgres database as a vector DB. Microsoft Office and Microsoft 365 suite of products are hugely popular in modern enterprises. It is common to see Microsoft SharePoint as the de facto document management tool, including for unstructured data stored in formats like Microsoft Word, Excel, and PDFs. Unlocking those documents for GenAI use cases is a natural next step. One key advantage of using SharePoint documents is that they already have built-in integration with existing enterprise-wide identity and authorization using Azure Active Directory, also called Entra ID. Similar to some of our earlier demos, we will show how Pebblo solution using SafeLoader and SafeRetriever will help to enforce different user groups to access only the authorized documents for RAG in context retrieval. We will show how easy it is to change document permissions in SharePoint and have it reflected in the inference response on a running Pebblo-enabled RAG application. In addition, enterprises typically have an existing database in their tech stack, with Postgres being a widely popular choice. It makes sense to use that to store vector embeddings, thereby reducing operational complexity of bringing another dedicated vector DB. We are going to ingest documents from a SharePoint site with different authorizations using a LangChain SharePoint loader wrapped with Pebblo Safe Loader and into a Postgres database. With a Safe Retriever enabled Streamlit RAG application, we can try different prompts as different user and observe the response. Let's see all this in action. Here is a SharePoint site with documents organized as internal confidential with restricted access and other documents that are a little bit widely available for internal employees. And some of them are specifically given access to specific user group, in this case to the specific user. Now we're going to start the ingestion, and we would use the LangChain SharePoint loader to ingest this document, and again wrapped with Pebblo Safe Loader so that you get the right safety attributes and authorization attributes already baked in into the chunks ingested into the vector DB. Now let's also look at the Postgres database here. There is a local Postgres database, and it is a viewer for the Postgres. Currently there is no collections here. And now let's start the ingestion. These are some of the attributes that you would set, and you can follow the LangChain SharePoint documentation for setting these things. Let's provide the URL of the SharePoint site. Now it is ingesting the documents. The ingestion is over. Now let's go look at the Postgres viewer. So we have these two new collections, and you can see these embeddings are now created for different chunks. And as you can point out here, different chunks are also picked up different metadata related to the document contents. As you can see, some of them are captured with specific semantic topics, and some of them, and of course all of them, have these authorized entities. Let's also look at some other entries where specific user groups are picked up as part of different chunks. In this case, there is an employee handbook, and we have additional users that we gave access is available as part of authorized identities. Let's see how all this comes together on the retrieval side in a RAG application. Now let's start the retrieval application. It's a Streamlit application. Now let's log in using a user that has broad access to most documents in this SharePoint repository. Again, we are logging into the same Microsoft Enterprise account. Okay, this user has fairly broad access to the SharePoint. And let's try this prompt, which is asking about revenue forecast. Again, it's a pretty restricted information that you would find in an enterprise. Let's go ahead and run the inference. And as you can see, the application correctly answers based on the data it's available for this specific user. Let's try a few more prompts about that potentially indicate a slightly higher level access. Here we're talking about potentially some headcount reduction plans in the BU. Again, something that you would want to restrict to limited team members. Again, here it correctly answers again based on the document ingested for this user. Let's also try some broad employee policy level document that you would expect to be available for most other users as well. In this case, it's a parental leave of absence policy. Again, the application correctly answers. Now let's try another user with slightly less access and see how this behaves. I logged out, now I'm logging back in as a different user. Now we have logged in as a user that with slightly less privileges, less access, and let's ask the same prompt about revenue forecast. In this case, it wouldn't answer because it doesn't have enough information allowed for this user. Let's now quickly try the parental leave of absence prompt, where this user does have access, as we saw earlier during the ingestion. Okay, in this case, this user does have access and the app correctly responds. Now let's do something where we will go ahead and remove access and see how it kind of comes through. Right? So this is the document where this user has access. And typically, so here I'm stop sharing here for this user. So that user lost access. Typically, you would have an ingestion pipeline pick up this change. So we're going to use another, we're going to rerun this in this case just for this demo purpose, but typically you would have an event trigger, pick up the changes to get this going. Now it is iterated with the new set of access controls now. Now let's go back to the application here. Again, logged in, still logged in as this user, but this person has lost access to this document that would actually answer this prompt. Now let's go ahead and do the same prompt. It's running. And as you see, this person can no longer get access. I mean, this is how, as you manage your authorizations using Microsoft security groups or Azure AD, the RAG application naturally can pick up those changes all through ingestion pipelines, again, safely guarded using Pebblo safe loader with authorization and using a database like Postgres that you might already have in place. And that's the power of this old solution that we are bringing in through Pebblo. Thanks for watching the demo. For more information, you can reach daxa.ai/Pebblo.